Zoom. I paused it when we started. Okay. Mute all. There we go. I'm muting everybody. Okay, everyone's muted. Okay, so let me go back here. So that's how we find people. And so I don't want the person who's been recommended by 3 or 4 people because they're already busy. I want the person who's cleaning for themselves right now, who's struggling to find jobs, because I'm really good at getting jobs. And so that's where I create the partnerships with people and find 1099 people who are wanting to work. And so that's the answer to that question. Let me get back over here. So how do you find employees that are trustworthy? And then I have a zero tolerance for anything having to do with integrity. We have a 3 strikes and you're out policy in terms of quality control. So, and all of our team members signed, we had our attorney, hired an attorney, create an IC contract, an independent contractor agreement. And it says in there that if I have to refund, and I will give a refund before I take on a bad review. So that's kind of my philosophy on it. And the independent contractor agreement that they have to sign and agree to says that if I have to give a refund because you did a bad job, you don't get paid. And if you get 3 of those, on the 3rd one, you're out. I'm done. I'm not sending you any more jobs. So it's kind of a 3 strikes and you're out policy, because everybody, and it has to be legit. You know, it's not, because we all have customers who are just a pain and, you know, are going to bitch to get something for free. But it has to be 3 legit ones.
There's always those people who want something for nothing. And that's what I have an issue with, is I can't get people to pay what I know that I'm worth. And that really irritates me, because I'm doing all this legwork and all this stuff and paying for all of my equipment and everything. And it's just me and my sister. That's why I'm trying to learn to grow.
Yeah. Well, I'll answer that question here in just a second. I'll tell you how to fix that. And so, but in terms of the trustworthy integrity thing, it's a zero tolerance, like any red flags. And so you got to remember, I don't have employees. I have partnerships with independent contractors. I don't have to send you jobs. So any red flags for me of any kind of integrity issue, we're just not going to do business together. And I may be wrong, but I'd rather be wrong than get proven right on an integrity issue. All right, where do you get your leads? Okay, so this is the catch part. I'll tell you where I get my leads, but I can't teach you how to do it in this setting. So a skill set that I have is digital marketing. So I'm really good at getting Google listings ranking in the top 3 of maps. So I'll show you what that looks like. This is where I get my leads. So I'm just going to open a Google page. And so if someone is looking for a house cleaner, they're either going to go to a local Facebook group and ask for a recommendation, or they're going to jump on Google. Okay. So, and I'm just going to search, okay, house cleaners in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Crap. Shit. Hang on. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, and I'm a veteran. I have super duper bad at, like, when it comes to integrity. That's why it's been hard for me to branch out, because I don't think people think like I do. I'm an Air Force vet. So, you know, I've been taught and drilled into my brain, you know, integrity before anything else. Always tell the truth, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just have to set your standards. So in terms of how do I get my leads, this is it right here. So we're ranked number 1 in Fayetteville, Arkansas for house cleaners. So that's it. That's the answer. Now, how did I get to number 1? That's a whole other deal that I can't teach you that in this setting. But that's how I get my leads. Now, we do spend money on Google local ads. So when I go to open a new market, while I'm getting my Google listing ranked, because it takes about 3 to 4 months to get it ranked ish, 2 to 4 months. I'll spend, if I'm wanting to accelerate the process and get leads coming in, I'll spend money on Google local ads, not Google AdWords. So these are Google local ads right here. Okay, and mine's not showing up because it's not turned on the weekends, so it doesn't show up. But these are Google local ads, and so we're Google guaranteed, and so ours will show up with this Google guaranteed badge. That's the best dollar spend for advertising for most markets. Now you can also do Google AdWords, which there's not any AdWords right here. It would be on top, but that's a lot. It's a lot less efficient. It's more costly. So that's how I get my leads. Shoot. Okay. Where do I get my leads? You said you started taking the business seriously in December. What did you start doing differently in December? I just started running it. Like, so I instead of just kind of half butt, you know, whatever happened kind of thing. I just started running it. But the biggest thing I did in December was I hired Carrie. Hey, Carrie, are you on here? No, she said she might, but so Carrie is just amazing. And you know, everybody needs a Carrie in their business. And so I hired Carrie, and she took over, and she has tons of great experience, but and I bit the bullet and paid her. And that's what I did differently is I just took it seriously. I treated it as an actual business instead of just something that was generating a couple $1,000s extra a month for me. And let me back up a step, kind of give you more context for me. So since 2016, I've been doing digital marketing. And one of those things that I do is I build websites and get Google listings ranked like this. And then I do them in the home services industries. So like air conditioning, plumbing, all that kind of stuff. And then I rent out the websites to home service providers. And so I used to be a pastor, and now I'm a school teacher, and neither of those pay a lot. And I have 5 kids to put through college. And so that's my side hustle, which, my side hustle pays me more, than as a teacher, but it's very hands off. Like I don't put time into it. Once I get the website ranked and I got money coming in. And so the difference is that I was treating All Clean by Annabelle, which at the time it was called Busy Bee. We had to change it for legal reasons. Somebody else had that name, but I was treating Busy Bee as one of my lead gens, and which was just hands off. It's generating some leads. I've got a VA taking the calls, and whatever happened. But then I was like, you know what? This is actually can be a real business. This is my daughter started this. This is the yada yada yada, and so I just started taking it more seriously. How did you grow at 5x since December? What were your best methods to gaining customers? So that's it. Like what I talked about. Let me gotta admit this guy. Damn it. So I got my listing ranked. That's what I did. Says, how did you grow 5x since December? I got my listing ranked, and I started expanding into other markets. Now, if you look at it on apples to apples comparison, most of the markets that I'm in, like I don't make that much money. Like my Fayetteville market, I make the most. I think we did 12,000 in the Fayetteville market last month. So it's not a lot. Well, I guess a lot is relative, but when you combine a bunch of different markets and it's a hands-off lead generation process, like I'm not doing anything actively to generate leads. I don't mess with door hangers. I'm not out in social groups like BNIs. I don't do any of that. I don't get on Facebook a bunch and post and talk about my business. All I do is I get the Google listing ranked and the calls come in. And then if I need to, depending, we'll spend some money in Google local ads. So that's kind of how we've grown it.
So that puts you in about, sorry to interrupt, that puts you with the follow-up question in about five markets. Then if you're doing about 12 K in Fayetteville, are you in about 5 or 6, 7 markets? How's that operating for you?
Yeah. So we're in, no, but we're not doing 12K in every market.
Right.
So,
Okay.
it's just because you
As
got to
they're
remember.
growing.
Yeah. So
you're scaling.
Exactly. So
Yep.
we are in from a business point of view, we are an infant company. I mean, technically speaking, All Clean by Annabelle is only 6 months old. The business itself, it used to be Busy Bee, is a year old, but that's a company in its infancy. So, we're just getting started. But yeah, so when we start a market, we're only going to have one cleaner in that market, and we're only going to be able to send them a couple jobs a week, because we're just getting it started. And we've got a bunch of markets that are like that, where, and we have to decide, okay, do we want to put money into the market or just let it grow naturally while we get our listing ranked? And that, where I say I have to decide that. And so it's just a matter of deciding, okay, is it worth it? And just let it ride. How long will it take me, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, but we're not averaging the same in every market. So we're in Northwest Arkansas. That's our biggest market. Well, I should say that's not our big. We're in Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City for us and Northwest Arkansas are compete to be our top markets. How do you? Is this being recorded? It is now, thanks to whoever reminded me. How do you know that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when you can't go check behind them? Okay, so yeah, great question. It's quality control. So how do you do quality control? Well, if Carrie gets a complaint and it's a legit complaint and the person sends pictures, well, we know they did a bad job. And the other part of this, and so that's how we do it. And you get 3 of those, you're done. So, but what we also do is we have a private Facebook group for all of our team members in all of our markets. And so we treat our independent contractors like we would treat employees, other than the IRS legal money part of it. I mean, obviously we can't tell them what cleaning products to use. We can't, all those rules and stuff. But other than that, from a social point of view, we treat them all like team members, like employees, and really like a big extended family. And so we have relationships. And when I say we, it's Carrie and myself. We have relationships with these people. We know them. Like we learn about their families, their husbands, in a couple instances, their wives, their kids. Like we get into that intentionally. And so we get to know them. And so, and we take care of them. I'll send them, like if one of them, like for example, the other night, one of them was on a clean and she was there till like 9 o'clock, which that frustrates me. I don't want my people working that late. That's stupid. And so I sent her, I just cashed after $50. I said, hey, super late tonight. I just noticed you just getting done. Grab some dinner for you and the family on the way home. And so I cashed after $50. And so it's stuff like that it creates a sense of loyalty, and it personalizes the business when the business model is impersonal, if that makes sense. And so that does a lot to help with quality control. And then again, I don't put up with any nonsense, like zero. I'll give you the shirt off my back, literally. Like we've paid for hotels for team members because their power was out. Like I'll give you the shirt off my back, but I don't put up with any nonsense. And so it creates the loyalty, which then I think, it weeds out the people who are just not great. And then it also gets the people who we do have, who are good people, to buy in even more and, want to take care of us like we've taken care of them. I actually turned off. Yeah, I did. Okay. Did you train your ops manager on the day-to-day, or did they have experience and were able to hit the ground running? Okay. Let me read that slower. Did I train my operations manager on the day-to-day, or did they have experience and were able to hit the ground running? Yes and no. I trained her on our booking software. We use Mately. It's the equivalent of like Launch 27 or Booking Koala or Jobber or any of those. We use Mately. So like I pretty much said, here's Mately, here's the ins and outs. We met, like she's local to me. And so we met, she was in the next town over. We met at, Taco Bell or whatever it was, and sat down for a couple hours and went through everything. But in terms of the business part of things, knowing how to take care of customers, knowing how to take care of our team members and all of that, that's why I told you, everybody needs a Carrie in their life. Carrie used to run or was like a co-manager or something at a casino. So she was awesome at dealing with team members and a difficult employee or difficult clients and all of that. So it was a godsend. You mentioned you're in multi locations. What areas and how far from base? So we're in the Midwest and we're in the Southeast. That's where we are. And that's kind of where I'm focused on growing right now. I'll tell you, I'll answer kind of a question that you didn't ask is how do I pick locations?
That was my follow-up. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
My wife
Yeah,
is like
absolutely.
hitting me in the head for not asking that question.
That's fine, no problem. So how do I pick locations? So the research says that 10% of a market will use a residential cleaning service. And so just kind of with that in mind, I go for the market has to be at least 100,000 for me to want to mess with it. So anything less than 100,000, it's going to be, I just don't know that it's going to be worth the effort and time. So that's the first thing is
What do you mean 100,000?
100,000 people in that marketplace. So typically, so for example, the Fayetteville isn't the market, it's Northwest Arkansas. So in Fayetteville, you have 4 cities that run from south to north. If you just look at a map, so it goes Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, and Bentonville. And within that market, there's probably 250,000 people. And so I look at the market. So like, for example, we're in Oklahoma City market. So there's Edmond, Norman, Oklahoma City, and then some other towns kind of outside of that. And so that's the first thing. It's got to have at least 100,000 people. The second thing is I look for state capitals because there's always going to be white collar people, an abundance of white collar people. So like, for example, I'm in Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, Kansas is not a big city. It's barely got 100,000 people, but it's a state capital. And so it's going to have a lot of white collar people who are going to be more likely to use a house cleaning service. And then the third criteria I look at is I go after college towns because it's the same principle. A college is going to support a lot of white collar people. And so those are the 3 factors I look at. So for example, I'm in Athens, Georgia. That's a market for us, and we're in Tallahassee, Florida. So Tallahassee is both a state capital. It's got the population criteria. And then it's also, got Florida State and Florida A&M. So those are the 3 factors that I use to help us decide, do we want to go into that market? Also, I say those are the 3. This one is kind of, I don't have it set like a number, but I just look at the poverty rate in that city. So the population may be where I want it. It may be a good town. So for example, like Shreveport, Louisiana, good sized town. There's a college there. There's a couple. I think the Citadel is there. There's another college I think that's there, but the poverty rate is too high. And it doesn't mean that you can't make a living there, but it's just, it makes it to where it's not advantageous to go and chase business there. So that's kind of, those are the factors that I look at to answer your question on how would I decide where I want to go.
So I have something to follow up with that. I live in
Sure.
a state that barely has 1 million people in it.
Mhm.
My city, yes, I live in North Dakota. If anybody else does, hi. I don't know if anybody else does, but our capital is like an hour and 45 minutes from where I live, but I also live in a college city. So
Mhm.
like, would I be able to use, because I can get to any major city in my state within a 4-hour drive.
Well, so two responses to you. Number one is house cleaning. Our price points in our industry aren't high enough to drive 4 hours. Now I'll drive 4 hours to sell you a $10,000 ticket item, but I'm not driving 4 hours to sell you a $250 cleaning. So that's one
That's not what I
factor.
was meaning with that.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just
I'm
saying,
sorry.
like, I was just saying, like, how you had like different marketing areas or
Oh,
whatnot.
sure.
That's all I was saying. Like, I could branch out to those.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So here's the thing you got to remember is it's the whole market. Okay. So it's not just the city, it's the whole DMA. Okay. The whole market. And just think to yourself, okay, I know that 10,000 people, or excuse me, 10% of people of the market are going to use a house cleaning service, generally speaking. And if you can be the best, then you can win anywhere. It's just that you have to understand that the size of your market sets the ceiling on how much you can win in terms of your financial success. Now, listen, and here's the other thing that you have to remember is everybody's goals and needs and so forth are different, right? So you may just say, okay, I want to own my job and I want to be able to bring home $50,000 a year. Great. You can do that in a small market because if it's just you and a helper, you can knock them out. You can grow your brand and be the preferred cleaner in town and in that market. And you can own the market share, the vast majority of the market share, and you can, very easily make your 50K a year and be happy. So just remember that like what my goals happen to be or what somebody else's goals happen to be doesn't need to be your goals or your target. So just remember that. But yeah, you can absolutely make a decent living. You just have to understand that, okay, I'm in a smaller market, so my ceiling is going to be lowered financially, but it doesn't mean my ceiling on my happiness is any lower if I set my expectations and calibrate that accordingly. And that's the whole point with any job or business. Let's see, what's your tech stack? Milad, M-I-L-A-D. I don't understand your question, man. Can you clarify what's your tech stack?
Yeah, what technologies are you using to run your business? What do you have for your website?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So I run WordPress. So my site is on WordPress. We use a call tracking software we use CallRail. That's this right here, CallRail. So CallRail to buy our phone numbers. So, and then it just tracks everything. So my phone numbers for each market are like $1.50, something like that. And then I pay for the minutes and all that kind of stuff. And I can, I can help you with that later. That's kind of technical and a deep dive. So it's the website, and then I host my site on SiteGround. I use SiteGround, and of course I've got all my other business stuff there with SiteGround as well. So I've got kind of a deal with them, but I spend like $200 a month with SiteGround. That's my hosting, my phone numbers, and then let me pull this up. And then Stripe is my payment processor, which that's this, it's just Stripe. And then I'll show you, this is our booking software. We use Mately. And I'll log you in here and show you. So this is Mately. This is our booking software that we use. So that's my tech. I mean, that's everything. Now I use other tech stack, or however you would say it. I use a lot of other tech to rank my listings, but that's what I use to run my business. How do you take people who are used to working a W-2 role and transition them to a 1099 position? Zach, that's an amazingly good question. And it's one that I failed at doing. And that's what I was talking about earlier. So when we started out, we tried to hire people who were used to being employees, and it failed miserably. Like I say failed miserably. That's not true. You don't get the highest caliber people.
Yeah, it's a different mindset shift.
It's a completely different mindset, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be an employee. I'm not making it a negative judgment on that at all.
Sure.
But when you're seeking to be an employee in an entry level industry or position, you're going to get entry level skill sets, character, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that's what we quit trying to do. And so now it's like that thing. Were you on when I showed you how to look at the Facebook group? Did you see that, Zach?
No, could you do that again?
Oh yeah. So this is how we find people, and I'll jump on here and do it one more time. So I go on Facebook and I go into local Facebook groups. Okay. Well, there's one right there, Rancho Cordova Community. Okay. So Rancho Cordova, I'm not in, this is for another business, but so what I would do, and I'm not in Rancho, I won't do business in California, but, so I'm looking for a house cleaner. So looking for a house, and this is literally what I type. You can just copy it. Looking for a house cleaning team. really prefer experienced, honest team or something like that.
Yeah.
Who you
So,
got?
so the people that are replying to this are coming into your organization previously working W-2s. You're introducing them to a 1099 structure.
No, incorrect.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what I used to do. Now
Okay.
what I do, so I'm not going to hit post on this one. So when I post, or if I were to post this, I'm going to get two different types of responses. One
Right.
response is going to be clients who are recommending their cleaner.
Yep.
I'm not interested in them because that cleaner has plenty of business. The second response is going to be from cleaners who are looking for business. And so people will respond and say, hey, I'm a cleaner, would love to help you out. Cool. And I'll shoot them a private message, or I'll tell them, hey, shoot me. Well, actually, no, let me be very specific. I will tell them, shoot me a private message, because that's my first screening.
Yep.
So I've put in like 100 screening steps to where I make people do jump through a lot of different hoops. They're not hard things to do. I'm not giving out an IQ test, but like I'm just making them do things to make sure that they actually want to work. Right.
Yeah.
Because what'll happen, and this pisses me off, like this is the one thing that drives me nuts. People will write interested on it. Like they'll actually write interested. I'm like, I can't fathom that mindset. And so my response, well, it's not a positive one. And so I ignore those people. And then I take and find the diamond in the rough of the 20 people who are going to respond. And it's a pain in the ass, but that's how I do it. And that's what works. It beats the crap out of trying to hire an employee and turning them into a 1099.
Yeah. So a follow-up question on that would
sure.
be what, to someone who's new to the 1099 idea, like we have W-2s right now, what percentage of the job are you paying out to the contractor? Yeah.
Okay. So great question. So the way we do that is, so we have three different percentages that we pay. That we start, the standard starting is 50%. Okay. Now you got to remember, like some of you are like, what the hell? You're paying 50%? Like, how do you make money? I have no overhead. Mm-hmm. Like I have Carrie is a non-revenue generating overhead for me. Okay. And then I've hired 3 weeks ago, we hired Carrie, an assistant, to also answer phones. Mm-hmm. Okay. Other than that, the only overhead I have is any advertising. Well, and no, that's not true. I hired a CPA, and that's $600 a month, which is kind of high, but she's supposed to be really good. So, and then any advertising I spend. So I don't have overhead. I don't have an office. I have zero overhead. So to answer your question, if you're an independent cleaner, okay, now we only hire 1099s who are already cleaning, right? But if it's just you cleaning, then I'll pay you 50%. If you have a helper, then I'll pay you 55%. And then I think I have 3 markets, 3 that are this way. I'm not sure. I think 3, but I've actually created a team leader position to work with independent cleaners who don't have a team. So the team leader will be in charge, and they've demonstrated some, obviously a higher level of quality and a higher level of integrity and trustworthiness, et cetera, and can deal with client issues and so forth. And so I pay them 60%, but I've only got 3 of those. So most of my people are on at 55%.
Okay. Yeah, that's the gross margin that we use for W-2, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So when I look at it, if I can take 30% at a minimum, 37% on the high end, if I can make somewhere between there, then I'm happy. Yeah. And so I've been giving Carrie raises just because without her, I don't have a business. So and I'm actually going to give her a piece of the company, but she's making quite a bit more, but it's okay. I'm able to eat it percentage wise because we're continuing to scale. So I don't feel it as badly. Happy to help get you to speed on Zoom. Oh yeah, definitely need it. Is your gross receivable number net of your contractor payouts? Okay, so you're asking some technical business accounting questions. All right, Zach. So the way we do it, and I'll answer what I think you're asking. Okay, I'm not an accountant, but I understand enough.
Basically, I'm just wondering So if you do 10 a month in sales, is that sales number that I'm seeing, is that after you've paid your contractors? Or is
No.
that-
So like, okay, so here, well, let me pull up my Stripe.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go month to date. Okay, so month to date. So everybody's seeing my screen, right? I'm on screen share. Okay, so my gross is 35. Okay, and that's through the 19th or whatever. My net after Stripe fees. So anytime you process a payment, it's 2.9% plus 35 cents or something like that, right? So this is the net that's actually gone into my bank account. Then I pay my average wage rate right now is right around 56%. No, that's not right. It's 54%. Right around 54%. So if you take,
I got you.
yeah, you could do the math. And so I pay the 54%. I pay my 5% advertising or whatever, 10% at the most, and then the rest is mine, roughly. Roughly.
Yeah.
But there's always, we're always giving away cleanings to help my kids' school teams, to that kind of stuff. But that's ballpark the numbers.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet, man. Absolutely. Do you do SEO of your what? Yeah, I do. The SEO on my site is I do all of that. That's kind of my skill set, and that's
What's SEO mean?
search engine optimization. It's like most people don't know what they're. No offense, Vladimir, you probably do know, but when people say SEO, they're hiring someone to rank their website. And so when someone searches, for example, this damn thing, how do you keep this bar from? So when someone searches, house cleaners, Fayetteville, Arkansas, obviously we can understand that, well, that's a big opportunity to get in front of customers, right? So what SEO is search engine optimization. So you're optimizing your website to show up in the search rankings. And so I'll talk about this for just a second. If you're paying someone to do SEO for your website, you are wasting your money, period. I'm just telling you now. Whatever it is you're paying them, you are throwing it away and it's totally worthless. Here's why. Because when we search for a low dollar item, okay, just as consumers, just think through this. If we're searching for a low dollar item, which house cleaning is a low dollar item, relatively speaking, we are not going to spend a lot of time and energy searching and researching for cleaners. So what most people do, they get on Facebook and they ask people they know on Facebook, quote unquote, know on Facebook for recommendations, or they get on Google and they look to see who looks successful. And so people make the assumption that if they're in the top of Google's rankings, that they must be good. That's not true, right? You can rank on Google and be a completely shitty business and business owner. But people make that assumption, like it's just a mental thing. They say, oh, they're in Google, so they must be good. And then they look at their rankings or their reviews. Well, I've got a 4.8. That's the industry standard of where you want to be as a 4.8. I don't have that on purpose. That's just what we have. And so what that means is 90% of the people give us a 5-star rating, and then every now and then someone throws a fit and you can't chill them out and they give you a 1-star, even though it was probably a 3-star service, that kind of thing. And so people will look 4.8, 4.7, 4.9. Well, they got 68. Well, hell, let me call them. And they'll call 2 or 3. Whoever sounds the most professional on the phone and is the most reasonably priced gets the job. Okay. Here's the catch. If you're spending money on SEO, that person is not trying to rank your GMB, because it's a whole different skill set to rank a GMB than it is a website. And I'm just telling you, you can't, I say you can't. It's very difficult to beat Angie's List, care.com. So if you look at the search, Angie, care.com, Yelp, and then here's me. Okay, now I have beaten Thumbtack. I have beaten Home Advisor. And then here's the franchises. Molly Maid is the first franchise ranked, and I've beaten them and all the other franchises. Now I know what I'm doing, right? But I still haven't been able to beat all these guys because their sites are just so damn big, okay? And there's a lot of other technical stuff that goes into it. Nobody scrolls down this far to look. They stop right here. Now, 75% of all search is through our phones now. And so you just got to do some human psychology. People are naturally lazy, are going to take the path of the least resistance. We're not going to do, and I mean this literally and physically, we're so lazy now and entitled that we're not going to thumb swipe more than once or twice. Does that make sense? Like physically, we're not going to do it. So when you go to look at a restaurant and, well, we want Mexican tonight. Okay, where do you want to eat? Google it, Mexican restaurants. And you're going to see the top 3. You're going to see one of them's got a terrible rating. They're out. And you'll look at the other 2. Okay, which you want to go to, hon? There you go. That's how you just picture dinner for the night. It's the same thing on low ticket items, on other low ticket items. Now, if you're selling decks, like an outdoor patio deck, where you're going to spend $10,000, $20,000, well, hell, we're going to do some research on that thing. Okay. But on something like this, you're not going to do the research. And so again, if you're paying someone to do SEO, you are wasting your money, because chances are they don't have the skill set to beat all of these guys: Angie, Care.com, Yelp, Thumbtack, Home Advisor. And for God's sakes, don't give them any money. Home Advisor and all those guys, those are rip you off. So I'm really good at this, and I'm only ranked 5th. And I can promise you, I barely get any calls from my website, hardly at all. But what people do is they go to the website from the Google listing, and then I get a chance to earn their business. So that's how that works. Anybody have a follow-up to that? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Follow up to that is, well, when you get around to it, maybe kind of telling us like how to go about making a website, like what we should put on it to make it eye-catching or whatnot. Because I don't have a website. All I have is a Facebook page.
Yeah. So copy mine. Just use your own branding. Copy mine. That's what I would tell you. Just copy it. Please don't.
Well, thank you.
Please don't steal the text. But just copy mine. So just do it how I've done it. So, and it's all psychology, all of it. It's all psychology. So I've got my brand up front. Okay. This is our picture. I didn't take the picture. I bought the picture. I bought the rights to this picture. This is our logo. And anytime you see us, this is what you see. You see this picture and our logo. Okay. And you got your first immediate call to action, call to book your cleaning immediately. So you got a call to action. Then I'm immediately showing you that you can trust us. We've got 368 reviews. So you're like, holy shit, 368 reviews. That's awesome. And you can read them right here. Okay. And then we do some BS text and the all clean difference, whatever. I don't know if that works or not, but that's it. And then people will scroll a little bit and then they're done. That's it. Because you got to remember, 2 thumb scrolls on a phone. 75% of search is on a phone now. 5% is on a tablet. 20% is on a PC or a computer. Okay, 2 thumb scrolls. 1, 2. That's it, and that's all you got. And that's the only. You have like 5 seconds to get them. And if you don't get them in the 5 seconds, you don't get them. And so I got tons of call to actions. I've got some social proof to say, hey, we're trustworthy. And then if I don't have them by here, I don't have them. And then from here down is all me ranking my website. And so you can look at it and just study it for a second, and you can see the text and how I set it up is meant to rank the website. Nobody reads this crap. Nobody reads a website about cleaning. Okay, nobody. So it's all to house cleaners in Fayetteville. That's what people search. That's why it's there. So like from here down is all to rank my website, period. Okay. And so just copy it. And that's what I would tell you. That's the best way.
So now, good night. Hello, everyone. I don't mean to interrupt you. This is Vladimir. Quickly, to follow up with the SEO. So now, my biggest problem right now is I just did what you told me. That's a waste of money. I just paid someone to trying to help with the keywords, with the SEO, because I'm averaging $3,500. I'm paying Google local ads every month. And now that you brought that up, So how do you still use local ads, right? But
Mhm.
your organic customer that coming directly from the way you rank, your business on Google listing. So
Yeah.
how do you balance that? Is do you spend less right now because you're getting more organic customers?
Yeah, so I use on Google local ads, I don't go over 10%. That's my number. So I don't go over 10% of gross. I'll never go over 10% of gross because I don't need it. I don't need to. Now, like I said, the only times I say the only times, that's not true. The majority of time, if I'm going to spend money on Google local ads, and that's the only place I spend money, I will spend it in a market that I'm new to. That's it. Now, I may also do some. No, that's not true. I haven't done that in months. I'll just spend it in a market that I'm new to. So I don't need to spend money in Fayetteville. I've got Fayetteville. I don't need to spend money in Oklahoma City. I've got Oklahoma City. So I'll just spend it and put it towards new markets for me. So, but you got to remember, $3,500. Some of us are like, "Holy shit, you're spending $3,500." Well, but if the 3,500 is making you 10, then go for it. You just got to know your numbers, and you got to know what's my cost. Yeah, 3,500, but that's not the important number. The important number is if I spend 3,500, how many customers is that going to get me? And I need to know how much is each customer worth. You got to get into your numbers, and that's the part of being a business owner.
Would you recommend using Facebook to promote? Like, how they have the promote to Facebook?
Yeah. So no, I wouldn't. And here's why. I would spend time promoting on Facebook, but I wouldn't spend money running ads on Facebook. Here's why. When people respond on Facebook, so Facebook, we're on Facebook and we're just scrolling, right? It's because we're in the bathroom wasting time, or we're sitting here about to go to bed and we're laying in bed, right? We don't get on Facebook looking to make purchasing decisions. Most people, some do, but most people do not go on Facebook and say, you know what? It's about time we get a house cleaner. Let me jump on Facebook and find one. We don't do that. What we do is we get on Facebook and someone has a very compelling ad, and we're like, you know what? We've been talking about this for months. What the hell? Let's go ahead and pull the trigger. These people look cool. And so then we'll dive in and start doing it. So if you're going to spend money on Facebook, you need to have the objective. This is just my opinion. The objective should be to increase brand awareness. Okay, is to increase branding in your market. Now, I think there's a place for that. I think that's valuable for long-term sustainability, right? But I would not spend money in Facebook advertising thinking that it's going to create customers like this, because it's not. You've got to be really good at your ad copy. You got to have really good art, either an image or a video that's very compelling. And then the offer you make has to be very compelling. And we all know we're not dealing with a high margin industry here. So you can only be so compelling in your offer, financially speaking, that before you really just destroy your margin. So Facebook is not the place that I would spend money. Now, I would get in groups. I would absolutely be in local groups and posting, like just how I look for cleaners. I'd be doing that if I needed
like
business.
I'll go on Marketplace and put an ad out and like put like a before and after picture on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like how they have like the local yard sale pages
Mm-hmm.
and like sale pages, and I'll post to them. And that's usually how I get most of my leads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's good. Keep doing that. And just look for local groups. So just whatever city you're in, your city has local groups, not just the yard sale pages. Those aren't the best. Look for local mom groups, because every city has, or every market has mom groups. So
Oh yes.
Moms in, I don't know, but every city has mom groups, and that's where you can, especially for you ladies, obviously they're not going to let me in a mom group, but that's where you can find value. So there you go. So Fayetteville moms, there's a bunch of those types of things. So that's where I would put my Facebook time. What did you set for your budget for GLS? Okay, so that's probably not the best question, because we're apples and oranges. My business is not your business. So I don't spend more than $2,000 a month on Google local ads, but that's me, because I don't need to.
What's the lowest amount you could pay for a local Google ad?
You set your, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to look. The cheapest lead I've ever bought from Google local ads was $12. No, $8. I've gotten leads for $8 before. Right now, they're running high teens, low 20s in the markets that I've been in. So,
Not too bad.
yeah, it's just, well, everything's relative. I mean, but if you're not charging enough, then if you spend 20 for a lead and you close 33% of your leads, you had to make sure you're charging enough to make it worthwhile. And again, it just goes back to knowing your numbers. Is
So
SEO? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to the next question.
Okay. So for the next, I guess, session of Zoom, would you do a deep dive into GMB on how to optimize that piece?
One Zoom isn't going to get it, but yeah, I can help more with that. Sure. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's fine. I can do that.
Okay.
Is SEO a must for Google local ads? No, it's apples and oranges. So Google local ads is, here's my money, run ads for me. SEO is stuff you do separate that gets Google to like your website and your GMB. How much do I pay my contractors? 50, 55%, or 60%? Where'd you get your VA, or can you suggest the best places to get them? Yes, VA. So go to onlinejobs.ph. That's where I would go to get a VA. That's the best place. I wouldn't get Legit has some, the other marketplaces like that will be okay. But this
VA,
is
what is that?
virtual assistant. I would only hire virtual assistants from the Philippines. I would not hire anywhere else. Do not hire VAs from the Middle East, and do not hire VAs from the Far East, India, Bangladesh, over there. I would only ever spend money for a VA in the Philippines. Their culture there is an awesome. The integrity, it's so much better. But you go to the Middle East and Bangladesh and India, those are the people that are trying to get you to pay your taxes with a Target credit card or a Target gift card. So don't do it. But onlinejobs.ph, if you're wanting to hire a VA, that's where I would go. How do you keep enough ICs on board for when more jobs come in? Maybe how do you control capacity? That's a Carrie question. But she and I are, each week we talk, okay, are we good on staffing? And we just have a staffing discussion. And it's just a matter of, we want all of our ICs, we want them to have as much work as they want. So we'll give each one, if they have a team, we'll give them up to 3 jobs a day. And we staff according to being able to give everyone we have as much work as they want. We have some that only want 1 job a day and they're happy. And we have some teams that they are hiring in their business to grow with us. And so it's whatever they want. And so that's how we do our staffing. It's strictly based on our relationships with our ICs. Does your VA coordinate IC? So I don't have a VA. I had one to start and I didn't like the way it worked. I have a Native American, she actually is Native American, but that's not, I have an English speaking American who runs my business. Now it costs me twice as much because you can get a VA and pay them $600 to $800 a month and they'll be rich in the Philippines and do a great job for you. They'll have a college education and be amazing. But
for
I wanted
$600 a month. That's all.
Oh yeah.
It's just look into it. Just get on onlinejobs.ph and you can find tons of like go to the how it works thing, and there's tons of articles and stuff and explains all that. But you just got to remember that there is, even though their values are aligned in the Philippines, it's still a cultural difference. So I just wanted someone local that I could go and have a cup of coffee with and talk to. So it was worth that money to me to do that.
They also have power issues in the Philippines, so sometimes we have
Some,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it is, and they do
A little
have
bit.
power. Yeah.
So could you
And-
hire? So could you hire like a local virtual assistant for like part-time only, and then you do it like the rest of the time to try to negate some of the costs when you're starting out?
It's your business. You can do whatever you want, but you just got to remember, there's
Right.
if you hire them, people are only going to work for so little. You get what you pay for. So
For real, that's true.
yeah. So you just got. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but yeah. I mean, you could hire a college kid. It's limited only by your imagination and creative problem solving skills. You could hire a grandma, which is kind of Carrie is kind of a little bit that. That's her age bracket, and she just has tons of great experience. But I just pay her more. So, if you don't mind sharing, out of the 60,000 a month, how much is profit? So my profit margin, my margins are 30. Well, average 35%. So you can kind of do the math there. How do you find the work and employees at the same time if you don't quite yet have the income to hire an operations manager? Yeah, that's the tough part. I mean, you got to get creative. There is no cut and dry answer to that. You got to get creative. So what I would do, and this is what my intention was starting out, but I was in a financial position where the cleaning business didn't pay my bills. Like I don't rely on it to keep my lights on and feed my kids, right? So my intention was I wanted to find a grandma type person who I know just by that nature or that description, they're going to be responsible, mature, honest, integrity, etc. They're going to, have the same values that I want my business to have. And that's who I looked for. And so I was wanting to find someone who was retired, but needed a little extra money. And I was going to pay him like $200 a week, excuse me, and offer them a percentage of net. So I pay Carrie a quarterly bonus, a healthy quarterly bonus. And I've done that from day one. And so you could even do it weekly to pay a lower wage. You could say, okay, look, I'll give you 15% or 20% of my net profits, so I can only afford to pay you 150 a week and work 8 to 12. And then I'll give you 20% of all my net profits or whatever. You just work out
And
a
like
deal.
the more work you get, the more they get paid. So it's kind of an incentive for them to get on
win-win.
the ball, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Right
if that's what my intention was, I got lucky and found a great person, but then I was also in a different position than some of you may be, that I was able to eat it financially speaking and not make any money on the front end. Just because, I mean, I make money, don't misunderstand me, but not make as much money.
Are you using the same business name in every market that you're in, and then building off the same website? Like, how do you and then if you are using the same website and name, how are you differentiating the SEO in each market?
Okay, so I'll answer the question, but I'm going to not go down the rabbit hole there. Okay. So
No problem. I understand the SEO aspect of it. So just high level.
So it's built the same, generally speaking, it's built the same way as the big franchises. So I have one huge website and I have one brand, All Clean by Annabelle. And I have All Clean by Annabelle in Fayetteville, All Clean by Annabelle in Oklahoma City, All Clean by Annabelle in Norman. Now, in terms of the website itself, I have location pages. So every location has a page. So for example, damn it, this thing keeps popping up.
I understand that perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll show you. A large franchise restaurant group and similar setup exactly globally.
Hold on. That's not what I meant. So here's House Cleaners in Fayetteville, right? So when we click on the website, it's not going to take me to allcleanbyannabelle.com. Look at the URL when it pulls it. You see the URL?
It's just a landing page for Fayetteville, basically. That's your
It's-
location. That's your
yeah.
location page. And when you're booking, it's
Yeah.
dealing directly with just Fayetteville for booking.
Northwest
Got it.
Arkansas.
Northwest, yeah, got it.
Is there like a way to like where you have the one web page and it says you like locations and then it says like where I am, like Minot, Bismarck, Fargo, and then you click from there and it takes you somewhere else, or does these all have to be separate?
Well, I got this map at the bottom of the site, but like everyone who's in that market, when they go to click on the page, it opens up to the page in their market. So, and because each market has a different phone number. So if you notice in my header, I've got an 866 number. On my main page, on my home page, I've got an 866 number. On my generic pages, the cleaning service, the about us, and all that crap, I've got an 866 number. On all my location pages, I have our phone number for that market. Every location has its own phone number. So each like, so for example, Oklahoma City has a 405 area code. Northwest Arkansas has a 479 area code. Houston has a 9, or Tulsa has a 918 area code, et cetera, et cetera.
My state's so small, we all have the same area code.
Yeah, well, that doesn't matter. Go ahead. What do I use for what?
For your phone.
Yeah, I use CallRail. That's so it's this. That's what I use. There's a bunch of them out there, but I use CallRail. That's what I use. And so what happens is I buy the phone number from CallRail. They give me my phone number. Someone calls the phone number and it forwards to my office line, which is Carrie's phone. And so we have I own cell phones lines from Verizon that I have my team members have, Carrie and Elizabeth, and then it just forwards to there, and I got it set up to where it alternates. So the call comes in, one goes to Carrie, the next one goes to Elizabeth, one goes to Carrie, next one goes to Elizabeth. And they all.
What's Elizabeth's role in your company?
Answer phones and take care of clients and team members. That's it.
How do you keep the separation between all these different markets utilizing just, carry these two providers to do the business services, let's call it?
Separation in what regard?
You're booking in Florida, you're dealing with hiring people in Florida, booking in, are you using the software is doing that for you?
So the
they automated the assigning of the jobs?
Yeah. So if you look here in the top left corner of the screen, Gentry it goes by the city where the address is. So Gentry is Northwest Arkansas. And so if someone calls from Northwest Arkansas, they click on Gentry. If someone calls from Springfield, Missouri, they click on Springfield. And then they book it inside that location. And that's just how the software is set up. And that's how we keep it separate.
That makes sense. I understand. Yeah, you're using locations, and each location is its own dashboard. And the earlier dashboard you're showing us for the month is the compilation of all these markets, correct?
Well, that's my Stripe account.
That's your Stripe account.
Yeah. So all of
my, I understand.
Yeah. So the Stripe is where all my money goes. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge for you in spreading out so far from your home base, you think, so far in doing
There's
that?
not any. It doesn't matter.
Not any for you. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's really so. And again, it's a completely different model from most of you, right? The biggest thing, if you're someone who's wanting to scale, like I'm trying to do, excuse me, you got to have your systems and your processes on point. If they're not on point, then you're going to have a miserable time. It won't work.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah,
but
consistency of product and service that you're scaling.
Exactly.
Sure. Yep.
Once you have your processes and systems on point to where it's from the first call to the final walkthrough, and it's seamless, you can make some money.
Are you pricing differently in different markets? Or are you?
Really good question. That's a really good question. And Carrie and I have just been working on that, and we're going to start pricing differently now. That's my next big project to tackle, is to make sure. Now, typically, What, no, to answer your question, no, I haven't been pricing differently. Our pricing is what it is. Excuse me. But we are going to start. When I say we're going to start, I'm just going to start researching and seeing, because we're not losing enough jobs because of our pricing. I was afraid we were too expensive. And then Carrie and I had in our recent meeting, because I asked her, I said, are we losing enough jobs because we're too expensive? And she said, no. And I'm like, well, shit. Okay. All right. So we got to raise our prices.
So what are your prices? Because I start out, I'm different for like residential, and then I'm different for like move outs, and I'm different for deep.
Well, just go to our website and you can see it. So go to our website and then pick one of the markets. They're not all listed there's a reason not all of my markets are listed, because I don't want people to be able to self-book in each market. Some markets I want them to have to call the office. But if you look here, our base price for 1 bedroom, 1 bath, under 2,500 square foot property is $135. And then it's $10 for every bedroom. So a 3-2 under $2,500 standard clean is $165. And feel free to steal this. I mean, it's totally cool. A deep clean adds $125 or $115. You could do the math, I forgot. And then a move out clean adds $160. So, and we don't do estimates and any of that stuff. It's all right here.
Without doing estimates why do you want some markets to call the office versus just automate the booking for you?
Yeah, so it's because the markets are too fresh. And
fresh markets.
Yeah.
Pushing customers basically.
Right, because we want to make sure that they don't book when we can't serve them.
Gotcha.
Because we're working there's a million reasons, but it's all boils down to the fact that it's a new fresh market and it's not established, and for our peace of mind.
So your pricing is like lower compared to what I price. And I guess that's just because I'm a one-time person and I don't, I have to charge a little more for my supplies and things like that.
Yeah. Well, good. That's great. Yeah. I mean, good for you.
Right on. No, I'm not saying anything bad about it.
Oh, no, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't take offense. Run your business, make your money. Good for you. And like I said, we're not losing enough customers because of our pricing. So, which means we're not charging enough. So, how do you find, if you don't mind, how do you find the work at employees at the same time if you don't quite have the income to hire? I already answered that. Full disclosure, I'm not a cleaner, but a marketer who has a few cleaning business clients. I'm always trying to learn about the industry. You've mentioned that you utilize SEO and some Google ads to generate leads. How do you follow up on leads? Also, did you ever try Facebook, Instagram ads? Okay, so I answered the Facebook part. How do I follow up on leads? I don't. They call and we answer the phone. Now, what we are going to start doing is we're going to start doing some email campaigns. Well, not I hate email. I'm not doing that bullshit. We're going to start doing some texting campaigns because, well, we'll have to do email too. But we're working on a few things to try to generate some, previous one-time clients. But we're in a hyper growth phase right now, and I just haven't had time to implement in those types of systems because we're just been growing so much. But do I ever use Facebook or Instagram ads? No, I don't. It's not worth it. Do you ask your contractors to wear uniforms with your company logo or optional? No, I don't. I just ask them not to wear theirs. I tried buying company t-shirts, and you got to buy like 25 or something. I bought company t-shirts, and that's when we were trying to figure out how to hire people, and we kept going through them. And I was like, son of a bitch. And I just wasted like $400 on t-shirts, and my family just ended up wearing them all. So I don't mess with it. We might do that one day, but not right now. You're not legally allowed to do that if they are 1099. Okay. I don't know what that is. Yeah, but there's a lot of laws with 1099 stuff.
Oh, I was just telling them that I was told that you're not allowed to tell them what they can do, how to clean, anything like that if they're 1099s.
That's correct. We cannot legally tell them. As soon as we tell them what to do or how to do it, then they become an employee, and we expose ourselves to IRS issues. And we don't. We have a suggested checklist And this is how we control the quality. So we tell our independent contractors that, and so if you go to the bottom of our website, you see our checklist, it's on there. Or it was, pretty sure it is. It's in the footer. Yeah, cleaning checklist. It's at the very bottom. And we tell our independent contractors, look, all of our clients, all of your clients, our clients that we share together are going to look at that cleaning checklist, and that's what they're going to expect. If you don't meet their expectations, we can't work with you. But we can't force you to use that checklist. And so it's just, then it becomes a win-win. And I could care less what they use to clean with. I don't give a shit. Just clean it. Like, to me, that's why I don't get tied up in all that stuff. And so like people are in the Facebook groups, how do I clean this? I don't give a shit. Get some Windex and scrub the hell out of it. Like, seriously. I mean, it's not rocket science here. So I don't get into all that. And that's what, with my own home, I like, just clean the freaking toilet. That's what I tell my kids, it's not a big deal. Is Carrie your one employee then and the rest IC? So we have Carrie and Elizabeth are both still technically ICs. And we're literally, like, right now working on getting them transitioned over. Our accountant is working on it, and they're going to be employees, and we're going to start withholding and all that for them. But yeah, so we'll have 2 employees and the rest ICs. Are your contractors required to have liability insurance? So they are required to tell me they do. So they signed an independent contractor agreement with me it says that they will carry liability insurance. But I carry insurance also to protect myself. So that way, if there is an issue that's more than what I want to pay out of pocket, like I had to fix a hole in a wall once. It wasn't a big deal, it was $200 or whatever. So, but
Hey, I have a silly question in regards to how you structured the DBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you have multiple locations across various states and or cities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you have one umbrella LLC. How did you set up each DBA? Is it a DBA per location or just per state?
No, it's not a DBA. It's an LLC.
So it's just one LLC and it all rolls up under that.
Did you do a LLC in each state?
Yeah. Well, not each state, but the states that require it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I register the business. Well, no, you know what? I don't know. I didn't see who was talking to me, but so in some instances I do have DBAs. So I apologize. So, but in other instances I have LLCs. It just depends on the state. But I'm registered in we're registered in every state. Some kind of way. Now the business may be called J. Shoper Enterprises or whatever, but we're registered in every state. Are you using Elementor to build your website? No, I use Divi. I'm using Elementor. Cool. Elementor's good. Does it affect SEO? No, it doesn't affect SEO. Whatever you use, as long as you know what you're doing. I could rank sites with a Weebly website. Or have you set up your GMB, Google Maps, and local ads? Okay, so you're asking a bunch of different questions that aren't interconnected. Have I set up my GMB? Yes, that's the Google listing. Google Maps, that's 2 different things. There's Google My Maps and there's your Google listing, which is on Google Maps. And yes, I've set up all of that. And then Google local ads. Yes, I run Google local ads. Can I repeat my percentages? So Erica, not sure which ones, but in terms of what we pay 50, 55, or 60%. And then my margins, if that's what you were asking, is between 32 and 37%-ish, somewhere in that area. How did you train Carrie on Mately? I use Mately as well, but I want to use a VA service and they only use Launch 27 and BK. Then you need to find, you just switch. So Launch 27 is too expensive. I wouldn't give them a dime. That's a ripoff. BK is good.
About that, but thank you for letting me know, because I was going to look into that tonight.
Yeah, so Launch 27 is a great product, but it was purchased by a credit card processing company for the purpose of making money, which no problem. We're all in it to make money, but they raised the rates. They tripled the rates when they bought it. And so screw that. So how do you train on Mately? You got to get on there and mess with it. Like I didn't train her. I just showed her what it was and she got on there and learned it. It's not hard. How did
Can
you
I ask
master?
something about your insurance when you get a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I have business insurance from me, and you said you require your 1099s to carry insurance. Does that mean that I don't have to get like a bigger insurance policy if you know what I'm trying to ask? I don't know if it makes sense, but
If you hire or if you partner with an IC,
yes, if you get like a 1099 an independent contractor, do you require them to carry their own insurance? That means that I don't have to carry it on them personally, right?
you can't insure someone else. You can only insure what you own, like legally. Like you can't, so you would insure your business. And then once you get enough assets personally, you would get an umbrella policy to protect your personal assets. So that's what I do. Like I have business insurance for my business to protect my business. And then we're working towards eventually here in the next year or two, we'll be in a position where we'll need to get an umbrella policy to protect my family and, my family's assets and so forth. How do you? Good. Yeah, you're welcome. How do you get reviews? Are you sending emails requesting them after completing jobs? What do you do when you start a new listing? Okay, so so this is really important. So how do you get reviews? You beg, you bribe, you pay, whatever you can. People suck at getting reviews. You piss them off and they'll give you a 1-star review faster than you can blink. But so what we do is we do like 100 different things. So the process that we have in place is we ask our independent and we pay our ICs $10 for every review they get. So that's off the top. So anytime that our ICs get a review, they get $10. But so what we've taught them to do or asked them to do technically is we ask them to hand their phone to open up the listing on their phone. And after their walkthrough, then the customer's like, yeah, it looks great. You did a great job, blah, blah, blah. Here's your $20 tip. Oh, we really appreciate it. Would you mind just taking a second and leaving us a review? Oh, sure, I'll do it. No problem. Well, they're not going to do it. They're going to forget and they're going to blow it off or whatever. So what we've taught our ICs to do or asked them to do, hand them their phone, literally like, here's my phone. Would you mind leaving a review real quick? And then boom, here. And so now the client's holding my IC's phone and the IC ain't leaving without their phone. I'm going to stand here and wait for you to do the review. So that's the main thing. Second is Mately, you can set up Mately to send emails to request them. And then I actually will call when I have time. And then we ask Carrie and Elizabeth to do the same thing when they have time to call and audit and just check, hey, how was your cleaning? Want to make sure you're satisfied. Anything we can do for you? Thanks so much for your business. Oh, everything was great. Really appreciate your phone call. Yeah, everything was wonderful. Oh, great. Would you mind leaving us a review if I sent you a link real quick? And so then I'll text them the link. Don't do anything through email. Email doesn't work. You have to do text. And so that's how we get the reviews.
So for the ICs, really quick. So for the ICs, when the ICs hand the customer their phone, does the customer sign into their Google? Okay, got it.
Yep. And so Google is really picky, and the algorithm has just gone through an update. And so a lot of reviews are not going through. And so you just have to wait, like physically wait for a week or two. But it works. So everything is based off the IP address. And so if they're reviewing, a Fayetteville-based business, in my case, from a Fayetteville IP address in Fayetteville, geographically speaking, it's more likely to go through. So that's kind of how the technical piece of that. What do you do when you start a new listing? I ask everybody I know who I've ever done something nice for to give me a review. And that way, is it kind of a fake review? Yeah, a little bit, but it's also not a fake review because they do know me. And so, that's what I do. you may have a moral problem with that, so don't do it if you do, but that's what I do. And then I'll ask like any of our recurring clients. So all of our markets, we have, recurring clients, and any of them that we have a good relationship with, we'll tell them, hey, do you mind leaving us a review, in our new market? Oh yeah, no problem. Sure. Love to. And so we get reviews that way also. Do you have a separate website for each market? No, we covered that. It's a location page. At what point did you decide to open other markets, immediately or once you reached a certain point? Well, like I said, in December, I decided to start taking this seriously, and I realized I can make money. How do you charge? Hourly, square feet, bedrooms, etc. So that's this booking page. It's just by the job. So feel free to steal from this. Everything's right here. How did you find your ops manager? On Facebook? Put a Facebook ad up. It was very detailed about my description, and got like 20 applications. Narrowed it down to 5. Interviewed 5 people. Did a second interview with 2.
No.
And then hired Karen. How do you handle no shows or no contractors being available when you have jobs scheduled? We don't schedule the job, and that's the other part of like only being able to self-book in certain markets. We want to make sure that we have people available. How do we handle no shows for our contractors? They're fired. I don't put up with that shit. Now,
So
obviously,
you immediately fire them whenever they don't show up one time, correct?
if let me clarify.
As long as it's not an emergency or something like that.
Right, life happens, and so we try to extend grace. Well, not try. We extend grace. I want to give the same grace that I would need. So, like, if they it rarely happens. It hardly ever rarely happens because we have good people. But if it happens for like a new person, they better be texting us. And the other thing is on Mately, Carrie can see and Elizabeth can see that they haven't clocked into the job, that they're not there. And so Elizabeth is going to text them immediately and say, hey, you're not logged in. Don't forget to log in. And if they don't respond, then we got a problem, right? Then we know that there's an issue. Now, if later in the day, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they're like, I had to take my baby to the ER, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that sucks. I'm sorry. I hope your baby's okay. All right, let's, make sure you give us a heads up next time. I know your baby was in the ER, but try to shoot us a quick text so we know. So most of the time, that's bullshit. Like their baby's fine. They just were hungover or whatever. But we give them the benefit of the doubt. But after 2 or 3, I'm done. But if it's a legit no-show, like they just blew it off, for sure, they're done. Because it's an integrity thing. And integrity is huge with me. And so if you lie to me or have any integrity lapse at all, I'm done with you. I have no use for you.
So Jeremy,
Yeah.
in the same breath, what happens with the client? So the no-show, okay, the cleaner, you're done with them.
Mhm.
But what about the client? How do you handle that?
That's why Carrie and Elizabeth get paid. They apologize and try to rebook it. Depending on how frustrated or upset the client is, we'll offer a discount for their book for the cleaning. If they're like, oh, life happens, no big deal, I'm free next, then cool, then we reschedule it. If they're upset, then we try to give them a discount to keep them happy. And sometimes we can't, and sometimes we lose them. That's just part of running a business. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. How do you announce that? What do you do when people call after hours? We don't answer the phone. We work, Carrie and Elizabeth work 8:30 to 4, period. That's it. So now we lose money because of that. I know we do, but I want my team members to have a life. So it's 8:30 to 4. It is what it is. Karina and I would love to meet with you privately. Sure. Yeah. Just shoot me if you'd love to meet privately, no problem. Just shoot me a PM. How can we connect with you to learn more about your digital market? If we want to, just shoot me a PM. Anything off the record or not off the record, but separate. Shoot me a PM.
Would you be able to be like if we paid you, like if I paid you to be a digital marketer for me to get my, like to get me to grow a little bit, would that be acceptable?
I hadn't thought about that. Hit me up. We'll see.
Will do.
Yeah. So something I am here. Let me finish the questions. I'm almost through all the questions. Do you have a separate GMB for each market? Yes, I have multiple GMBs in some markets, like in Oklahoma City, my Oklahoma City market. I have 3 GMBs. So I have one in Norman, one in Edmond. Like Norman's on the, I don't know what Norman and Edmond on the north and south parts of Oklahoma City, and then I have one in Oklahoma City. For Northwest Arkansas, I have 4 GMBs. I have one in Siloam Springs. I have one in Fayetteville, one in Bentonville, one in Bella Vista.
What does GMB mean?
Google My Business. It's not called that. It's the Google listing. It's called Google Business Profile now. But
How do you verify it without physical locations in all these places?
That's the $1 million question.
I don't have that much.
Yeah, no, it's no, I didn't.
Me either. That's why we're all here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tricks to it. The easiest thing is to just try to connect with somebody there and let you use their address.
Nice. That makes sense. I understand.
Yeah.
Like one of your ICs or your team leads.
Or get in a Google Facebook group and offer to pay.
Understood.
I'll pay. Yep. Yeah. So people who live in apartments are generally very receptive to making $50 for doing nothing. So, that kind of thing. But there's a lot to it. How do you, and I didn't mean to sound coy, it's just there's no way to answer it in this kind of a setting. How do you handle jobs that are more than expected? For instance, if they book a standard clean, but your IC comes and it's a deep or a hoarder books. Yeah. Okay. So good question. Because we don't do walkthroughs, that happens from time to time. So the first thing we do is Carrie and Elizabeth are both very good at asking the right questions. Most of the time, people aren't going to mislead you or lie to you. Most people are generally speaking honest, and because they know we're going to get there. And if they said, oh, it's not very dirty and it's a fucking hoarding mess, well, they know that's not going to work, right? So they're not going to lie about it. But we have had issues where, like, if it's a realtor or a property manager or landlord who will say, hey, I haven't looked at the property. It's a move out. I don't know what it looks like, whatever. Carrie and Elizabeth are very good at asking questions and finding out. They'll ask for pictures if there's any kind of red flag or hesitation, in the voice, or so to speak, in the conversation. But that being said, in our terms and conditions, we have in there that says that we reserve the right to charge more based on the physical condition of the property. So if you ask us, for example, if you hire us to do a move out clean, like in this instance, a move out clean on the screen, if you look at it, a 3.2 under 2,500 square feet is $325. If we get there and there's trash and crap everywhere, we're either A, not going to do it, or B, we're going to charge you like a substantial trash removal fee. I own a cleaning company, not a garbage collection company. So like, we don't do that crap. And so if my IC wants to do it, they're like, I'll do it. Let's just charge them. I'm like, cool. All right, go for it. Charge them. And we'll charge them an extra $200 or whatever. And that's written in our terms and conditions. And so what you have to remember is we have the golden ticket. We have their credit card before anything ever happens. We don't go to the job without having their credit card and having a hold on their account. So that's how we handle that. What's my email?
So basically, if they are like, oh, well, we decided to change our mind or whatever, and your cleaner's already there, do you just charge them for like the sake of?
Well, we have a $50 cancellation fee.
Okay.
So yeah, if you cancel inside of 24 hours, you're charged $50. And that's just, and
What if
that
they
50,
cancel the morning of? Because I've had that, it happened to me 3 times in a
Yeah.
row, a weekly client, and I'm about to drop her because of it.
well, I mean, we charge their credit card
Drop her.
$50. Yeah. Well, yeah, I would drop it. I wouldn't put up with that crap, but we charge $50 if you cancel within 24 hours, and all that $50 goes to the cleaner. And I just send them $50 for the gas and the aggravation. So that's how we handle that. I'll put my email here. Someone asked for my email. Let me see how to do this to everyone. Let's see what email. Let me do. Here, I'll just do this one. So I just put my email in here. So you can feel free to send me an email. You can send me a PM. Now, something I have done, and this isn't, I'm not selling anything, but I did start a group. So if you want to jump in the group, you can. Oh, here, look, somebody responded. Looking for an experienced cleaning team, any recommendation? Okay, whatever. He laughed and then so yeah, he's a douchebag. So I'm just going to delete the post. So like, I don't understand why people like jump on Facebook groups to troll other people. I don't get
Spammers,
that.
trollers.
Yeah, I don't know who else. I'm too busy for that. Anyways, so yeah, shoot me a PM. Oh yeah, I was going to say I did start a group just because like most of the Facebook groups that we have they seem to be focused on the cleaning operations part of it, and which is fine. But to me, and I don't mean to like sound negative, but like just go clean it. Like so many people get on there and they ask, well, how would you clean this? Scrub the shit out of it. That's how I clean it. I don't know. Like, what do you it's not complicated. And then there's this really thing that's this free service called Google that has tons of answers. So like when it's stuff like that, I just don't, it's not as important to me. But if you want to join the group, I called it, I had to get cute with it, Cleaning Business Boot Camp. If you want to jump in there, I'll answer questions about the business part of it. I have no answers about what cleans toilets well. I don't know, don't care. But if you have questions about your business and you want to be a part of answering those kind of questions, you can jump in there.
I can partner up with you and answer the cleaning part if you want.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's, so if you want to jump in there, you can. So I just made that and it's just a business kind of thing. Now, if people want to ask cleaning questions, I don't care, whatever, but I'm not going to answer them. But I'll be glad to try and answer, business type questions. That's kind of my lane, so to speak. So, well, hey, listen, I appreciate all of you guys jumping on here. And is there any questions that you have that didn't get answered?
No, thank you so much for bearing with me too, because, oh Lord, I needed help.
That's fine. Okay. All righty. Well, yeah, but if you want, jump in that business boot camp. And if you have questions about the marketing piece, so I'll tell you this, something I didn't realize it. Well, I guess I kind of did. I just didn't realize the extent of it that people need. I mean, I know people need help with the marketing part. So I may do a training. I don't really have time to like do the client work for people, like to hire me to do it. But what I may do is create training videos and just kind of sell a training and do something like that. So if that's something you'd be interested in, hit me up and I may do that. And that way I could help more people, and still make money for my time, and just teach you how to do it. And I'll just teach you everything I know. Because there's a lot to it that you wouldn't think of. So you can just hit me up and let me know. So you got my email and you got my PM. If you want to jump in this group, there's nobody in it yet but me, but I'll jump in there and answer questions and stuff if you want. So, all righty. Well, I'm going to get off here if you guys don't have any other questions. Cool. All right. You guys have a great week. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you so much, man. Happy Father's Day. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.